Good evening and welcome to the SRX broadcast. It's just waiting for this race to go official. It is week 12 out of 12, season finale here for the first season of the SRX broadcast split. Just waiting for the session to go up right now. Tell you what, we got a good combo right here. SRX cars, these tight bricks of lead and steel at Langley, that very flat inside dominant track. I expect to see some bumpers being used here, but we will get that to you whenever the race session goes up. There we go. And we will get a feed to you in just 1 second. Looks like we have 10 cars in today's event at Langley, so gearing up for a good race here. Some people making their first start in the SRX broadcasted split. Here's to hoping that they become SRX regulars. All right, we got a feed going real quick. Let me just open up my broadcasting software. And we got 50 seconds left in practice. So yep, 10 cars here for what I believe is a 55 lap tilt here at Langley. So should provide for some good racing with 20 seconds left in practice. See, the line that everyone's going to be running is right towards this inside line, trying to paint that that white line, maybe even get on the curb a little bit for some extra turn. But practice is now over. And qualifying will begin. Qualifying, hugely important here at a track like Langley, because it's going to be difficult to pass here. So you want to give yourself as big of an advantage as possible to start off on the right foot. Garrett Canning, first car out on the track for qualifying. And he was very fast in the Wednesday race. Had an early spin, recovered from last to fifth on pure speed alone. And this is someone who knows his way around the short tracks in this SRX car. Keeping it very tidy through the corners on his first lap. Coming to his second lap, a lot of people have had their faster lap on their first lap. A 16.354 for Garrett Canning. Let's see if he can go a little bit faster on this flying lap with slightly warmer tires now. I think he locked it up just a smidge entering the corner, but he's going to set a 387, so slightly slower on his second lap. Looking at the number 8 of Garrett Hess making his first start in the SRX broadcasted split, going way high in the corners. See if he can get a little bit of a tidier lap for lap number 2. 17.348 first lap for that number 8 car. Keeping it a lot lower through the center of the corner. Came out a little bit on exit. Good 3 and 4 from that number 8 car. That's going to put him a 16.813. Good enough for 7th on the board right now. Current fastest driver, or current car on pole is the number 3 of Garrett Canning. See, is anyone else not made a lap yet? Does not seem like it, qualifying ends early. So let's get down to your starting lineup in just 1 second. So, starting on pole is the number 3 of Garrett Canning, and on his outside, making his first start, I believe, in the SRX broadcast split, is the number 2 of Kealoha Hankins. Inside of row number 2, starting in the 3rd position, is the number 5 of Zach Hummel, followed by Andrew Roque on his outside in the number 7. Connor Boris in the 1 car is starting in position number 6 on, position number 5 on the inside of row number 3, with Colton Lights in the number 6 car on his outside in 6th place. Inside of row number 4 is the number 8 of Christian Hess, and on his outside is the number 10 of Joseph Stepongzi. Rounding out your field in row number 5 on the inside is Zach Besman in the number 4 car, and on his outside, rounding out your field in 10th place, is the number 9 of Steve Spencer. So 10 cars making up your field here for the season finale of the SRX broadcasted split. And we are here for a treat at Langley as the pace car will take one more trip around the sun before we turn them loose for 55 laps of action-packed SRX racing on this flat track. Drivers really got to be careful early on in the race about the cold tires. Very easy to get the car loose entering the corner on colder tires. But once them tires heat up, it's all about managing those tires so you can have speed at the end of the run. But pace car is about to pull into pit lane. And green flag is out. Garrett Canning with a great start over the rest of the field. Everyone getting a little bit loose, but Kealoha Hankins in that 2 car moving down to the inside line, and it's gonna be 1st, 2nd, and 3rd with Andrew Hummel taking 3rd. Connor Boris moves to the inside of Andrew Roque for 4th, and now the 6 of Colton Lights is battling with that 7 car of Andrew Roque. And Roque just straight back from his starting position. But right now, Connor Boris in that 1 car all over the back end of Zach Hummel for 3rd, as Colton Lights looking for a way around Roque. But here comes Christian Hess in the number 8 car, muscling his way around both of those drivers, able to make a move, a 2-for-1 deal for that number 8 car to move him solidly into the 5th position. Colton Lights all over the back end of Roque, so Roque still seems to be sliding back from his starting position, but Lights seemed to have a little bit of damage, maybe from a small bump to the front end, or small bump to the back end of that 7 car. Further up in the field, Connor Boris has both set the fastest lap, a 16.332, and has gone around that number 5 car of Zach Hummel for the 3rd position. Now he's working on trying to track down that 2 of Kealoha Hankins. Further back through the field, Colton Lights still trying to figure out a way to get to the inside of Andrew Roque in the 7. Not able to get anything just yet. Gonna have to hope for a good exit. But further up through the field, here comes Connor Boris looking to the inside of Kealoha Hankins to take that second spot. And he's going to use all of that inside rumble strip apron area to get the move done. So your biggest mover right now is Connor Boris. He is on a roll. Setting some very impressive times, but the ultimate test is going to be when and if he catches up to that number 3 car, because surely Barrett Canning is doing his best to save his stuff. And when you're flying through the field like Connor Boris is, you tend to be pushing the car pretty hard. As I have it accidentally on time, let me change to laps to go. I apologize. 45 laps to go here at Langley, and Barrett Canning still leading. And last lap was just a half a tenth faster than Canning, or than Connor Boris, I apologize. Whoa, big hit to the outside wall for the number 7 of Andrew Roque. That might have thrown out his alignment, because yeah, that car is definitely not turning in the corners. And then Zach Besman trying to get around the 7 had to check up quite a lot. So we will have to monitor the situation with that number 7 car of Andrew Roque, because that right front surely has to be hurting after that. Kealoha Hankins slides back to 4th place after Zach Hummel gets around him. And Hankins maybe trying to save his stuff, running a little conservatively. We'll have to see later on in this race if he will make that time back up. But you can see for the lead right now, that gap between Connor Boris and Barrett Canning has shrunk by quite a lot as they start to approach the first lap car, the number 9 of Steve Spencer. Running in the 10th position, but very slow and off the pace compared to Barrett Canning and Connor Boris. Last time by, Barrett Canning was about a half a tenth faster than Connor Boris, but this time by, Boris made up about 300ths on Canning, and they get past Steve Spencer without too much of a fuss. Closest battle on track right now is for 7th place right now, with Zach Besman trying to find his way around that 7 of Andrew Roque. Both cars with a little bit of damage on them. Besman gonna try to work the outside here, and he's still hanging on to that 7 car, using that outside line, giving him plenty of room. Maybe try the crossover here. Here comes Besman to the inside, not able to get the power down and poke his nose to the inside. But battle for 5th right now between Colton Lights and Christian Hess. Oh, a little bit of contact between Colton and Christian. Now Christian Hess moving to the inside of Colton Lights, and he's going to get the move done into 3. Does Colton have a response for that? Coming into 1 and 2. He's going to poke his nose to the inside, side by side. Advantage goes to Colton. A little bit of door banging out of 2. And Colton going to try to make out like a bandit after that move, as he asserts himself into the 5th position. Christian Hess trying everything to catch up to the back end of that 6 car. No shocking moves made just yet. Just close short track racing, really, for what it's worth. But that number 8 of Hess is really sticking to the back end of Colton Lights, using the bumper a little bit, trying to get Lights loose out of the corner. you just repeatedly going into the back of him. Christian Hess gets to the inside of Colton Lights. Lights is probably not going to be too happy about that, as they are swapping positions for the 5th spot. And we will go back to the battle for the lead right now. The gap has shrunk down to about 4/10 between Barrett Canning and Connor Boris. Boris hot on the heels of Barrett Canning, but like I've said in a lot of these streams, it's one thing to catch the guy in front of you. It's a whole other beast to pass him. And especially at a track like this where you really only have one lane to work with, you kind of have to hope that the guy in front of you runs a little wider. You get a miracle run. But back for 5th. Once again, Colton Lights looking to the inside of Christian Hess. Ooh. Hess really pinching Lights. I would not be surprised if Colton Lights sends a message to Christian Hess with his front bumper. But it looks like they're both giving each other now a good amount of room. And Lights is going to have the preferred line on the inside. Hess gets a little bit tight on the outside. And now it's Hess's turn to attack. For 5th place. Oh, Light scrapes the wall a little bit. That's going to compromise his entry. Here comes Hess. Oh, he had to really get out of it. But Lights moves up the track, and now they are side by side for 5th place. Once again, great battle between these two drivers, keeping it pretty much almost mostly clean. That's about the best way I could say it. But Hess gets into the wall pretty hard out of 4. And now Lights trying to get past him. Hess blocking for all that he's worth. As they approach the slow car of Andrew Roach at number 7. And Lights still to the inside of Hess. And Hess going to let him by. Will the crossover happen out of 2? Does not look like it right now. As they get past that slow number 10 of Josie Stepongzi. But this battle still not over yet. And speaking of battles that are not over yet, Connor Boris still trying to get around that number 3 of Barrett Canning, but he's just stuck in this 3/10 to 4/10 zone. But for 5th place, they are still battling like it's the last lap. Colton Lights and Christian Hess battling with a lot of close contact here. And it's going to be Christian Hess moving ahead. But now Colton Lights jumping to the inside at the very next corner. These two are swapping positions like crazy here. As now Lights going to get past Hess for 5th place. But Hess with a big send. Oh! And oh, he goes around. Unfortunate end to that battle. Gets the car spun around safely. That's unfortunate. That's going to relegate Hess back to the 8th position as Steve Spencer just got past him. Gonna have to be wary about those heated up tires. That car is certainly gonna be a little bit looser until those tires cool down. But Connor Boris starting to fade away from Barrett Canning, it seems. The gap now has expanded from about 3/10 to about 6/10. So Canning really starting to pull away from that one car. And Kealoha Hankins trying his best to make some ground up on Connor Boris. Because I mentioned earlier that Hankins might have been saving his stuff, and I think that's exactly what he's been doing. Because he's been running the 2nd fastest lap times out of anyone here. But the gap now expanding to about 9/10 of a second. And right now, Kilo Hankins is actually running faster lap times than our leader right now. So we might see Hankins catch up to that number 1 car sometime soon if he keeps this pace up. Right now, the gap between Canning and Boris is about 9/10 of a second. And growing on corner exit, it grows to about 1 second. So I think maybe Boris used up all the goodwill in them tires. As we approach 10 laps to go in this SRX broadcasted split season, Barrett Canning coming up on the 6 of Colton Lights. And gonna dispatch that 6 car safely, putting another car between him and Boris as Boris goes really hard into the corner, drifted up a little bit. So maybe he is losing front grip on that 1 car. But also, Boris is going to have to contend with that 6 of Colton Lights to, if he wants any shot at Canning, as the laps are very rapidly dwindling by. Going to get to the inside of Lights in this corner. And Lights is going to let that 1 car by. But now that gap between Boris and Canning has gone up to about 1.4 seconds. So we're going to need something huge from Barrett Canning if Boris wants anything for him in these next 6 coming to 5 laps to go. And I know I emphasized qualifying very heavily before the race, but starting from the pole is such an advantage because you really get to set the tempo of the race and you get to save your own stuff. And it's not like there's another line that people are running that you have to worry about. It's just that inside line, and Barrett Canning has done a great job of managing his stuff and pulling away. 5 laps to go in the SRX broadcasted split season. Coming to 3 to go right now, and the field has really spread out. Closest gap between cars is 1.1 seconds between Connor Boris and Kealoha Hankins, as Boris dispatches Christian Hess in that number 8 car, just trying to finish this race. But 2 laps to go in the SRX season. Barrett Canning looking to end it off on a high note. He has 1 more lap to make it happen. 1 lap of clean, smooth driving for the driver of that number 3 Dunkin' Donuts SRX car. And he will be your final winner for the first season of the SRX broadcast split. Give it up for Barrett Canning winning here at Langley. It's a good overall race. A great run for Kilo Hankins in that number 2 car to in his first start to finish 3rd. But let's get your results up on the board real quick. So winning the race is Barrett Canning, and then in second is Connor Boris. Flew through the field but was not able to get it done around that number 3 car for the first position. Has to settle with second. Kilo Hankins goes from second to 3rd. Good debut from him. Zachary Hummel, a quiet race, but a good race for that number 5 car in 4th position. Colton Lights fought off a very hard-charging number 8 of Christian Hess to finish as the last car in the top 5. First car outside the top 5 is number 4 of Zach Besman. And then in 7th is the number 8 of Christian Hess. Let's see if we can get an interview with him. Christian Hess, got a copy?
What's up?
Get over here. Coming home in 8th is the number 9 of Steve Spencer, then followed by the 10 of Joseph Stepongzi. And then rounding out your field is the number 7 of Andrew Roke. As a rarity for the SRX broadcasted split, we have an actual interview partner here with the number 8 of Christian Hess. So what happened with you and Colton Lights? You two were battling like crazy.
Wanted to give the viewers a show. You can see there, I sent it in a little too deep. Used up, what was it, Colton? Was it Colton that it was? Yeah. Used up Colton, got myself loose, spun out in the infield. Glad I didn't mess anybody else up.
So this was your first time in the SRX car, and I'd have to say you did a pretty good job. As someone who's raced the SRX car a lot, and as your brother, I would say that you did a good job. I'm not a hater for once. So
Appreciate it.
So do you think that you call yourself the Langley legend?
Right.
So do you think that your prior experience at Langley has really helped you out with your pace in this race, at least prior to your spin?
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't figure out. It was hard to understand how to brake the car. I think it was 5 minutes of practice before we went green. So I saw Barrett. I think he's a little heavier on the brakes. He'll coast and then really hard on the brakes, and it seems like the car tolerates that. You get off the brakes and it settles, versus an ARCA car where you kind of want to be smooth. It seems like that could be wrong. I have no idea, but yeah, that's kind of what my feeling was.
Well, that's the driver of the number 8 SRX car coming home in 7th place with a great battle with Colton Lights, Christian Hess. And with that, this concludes the SRX Broadcasted Split broadcast, and this concludes the SRX Broadcasted Split season. We will see you in 2 weeks for the beginning of the first SRX broadcast, or the second broadcasted SRX Split at the first track when the schedule is announced. I don't know what it is right now. I don't have it up on the screen or on my other screen, but we will still be here for 2026 Season 2 and the second season of the SRX Broadcast Split. My name is Garrett Hess. Thank you for watching, and thank you for a great season of the SRX Broadcast Split. Y'all take it easy.